Hello, hello, hello. You guys come on in, have a seat, sit next to the fire, get some hot chocolate. That's right, it is summer, isn't it? So we can't do that. Glad you guys took your time to be here. I really do appreciate it, and I value your time. That's why I don't waste a lot. I'm gonna give it just a few more seconds while everybody's coming in. All right. Okay, let's get started here. Hey, guys, first of all, David and I were talking earlier in the week, and we were discussing. There's a lot of groups out there that want to come in and market on the Bank Breezy platform and all. And we started doing all of our math and all. And guys, nobody can earn the type of money that you can earn in the funding side of this. The commissions are higher than we pay anywhere else, and with us doing most of the work. Listen, I know it's not simple to go out and get new clients. As a matter of fact, I mean, it's difficult if you're just trying to do it all online and that sort of thing. But when you get out there and knock on doors, it becomes worth the effort over a period of time because of the fact that um, that more and more people are gonna eventually come back to you and say, "Hey, I need money," because right now, in my community, which people make a decent amount of money in my community, but we're always talking at the pool or gatherings or just in the neighborhood walking, and they're all talking about the economy, how hard it is to pay. Most of these people have small businesses and they're trying to make payroll, so I really admire and appreciate every one of you and what you do every day. I'm blown away by all the different strategies that David is putting together. Uh, he's got a few things that I wish I would have had many years ago when marketing systems and that sort of thing when I got into the networking industry a long time ago. So it's quite exciting time to be part of David Allen Capital. Listen, I know there's been some changes, some lulls, that sort of thing, but that's okay. The way that you can change all that is just go out and recruit, find people, because see, all these new people are going to get their warm market right away, and that's going to explode your business. Today, however, I want to talk to you about the cost of funds. Let me just share my screen. Well, let's see here. Let me just make sure I got this right here. All right, let me just do this here. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I already had this thing ready. There it is. All right. Now I am ready to share my screen. And Morgan and Sharon, you guys can see that, right?
Yes, we can.
I'm just quickly just go over our best industries, and then I'm going to talk about cost of funds. The reason that we always talk about construction first is because this is a beautiful time of year. There's a lot of construction going on. Plumbers, electricians. My daughter just had to get a plumber in and redo the whole bathroom because of mold and that sort of thing. So there's a lot going on out there in the construction industry, whether it's electricians, pavers, plumbers, HVAC, home builders. Stick really try to concentrate this list of 10. I'm not going to go over all of them for you, but it would be great if you guys can just really concentrate on those. Well, let's talk about the use of funds. That's really way more important than the cost of funds, and I'll show you why in a minute. The one issue that I can tell you really hurts businesses, and that's not being able to get their hands on working capital. And you can say what you want, but it is not easy. It's not simple. You can't go to the bank and get it. Friends and family are not really an option in most cases. And most of the small business people have some bruised or bang up credit because they have put their name on everything, not because they don't pay the bills, because they always do. because they are entrepreneurs. But if a person that you talk to, a small business person, has a legitimate reason for needing funds, and they got a good use of those funds, then the cost of funds really isn't that big of a factor. And I'm gonna go over just a few that we some offers we put out there. This is a women's boutique, and they need inventory. I've talked to them. They've averaged about 110,000 over the last 3 months. They haven't been in business for 2 years. That's kind of an issue. Oh, well, I think it's like 25 months they've been in business, but they really, revenues up and down and all around. But I was able to get them $135,000 offer over 18 months at a 143 rate weekly. So when you look at that rate, that cost of funds, if you wanted to figure out what this annually is, it's over 18 months. So you divide that 0.43 by 18 and then multiply it by 12. So they're going to pay about 28.6% for the money on a non-collateralized signature funding. And on this particular offer, they got a prepayment discount of 25% no matter when they pay it off. This particular lender right here has added on that in 6 months, 9 months, whenever they want additional funding, if they want to renew it, then they'll take the cost of those cost of funds that they're charging for the remainder of the balance, they'll waive it. So there's a lot of little nuances in this particular offer that is great, but their need for inventory for this particular group, and it's a retail establishment, so they can really put a lot of cost of funds into the sell of the product. On top of that, as you know, the cost of funds is in most cases tax deductible, but ask them to talk to their CPA and in their particular state, see what they can do. Another one was a daycare center, and they needed playground equipment. And they're averaging about $20,000 a month. For whatever reason, is down from what it was last year. It's way down, but they're doing about 20,000. I was able to give them a $25,000 offer over 8 months at a 141 rate. Now you look at that 141 rate and you say, man, that's a little bit high. Well, the cost of funds are a lot higher right now in our economy and the way things are. The risk is high. People may not pay. They may go out of business, that sort of thing. But a 141 rate is not a bad rate. And what the person looks at, the client is, what am I going to do with this? What will this new playground equipment do for me if I can put another dozen kids in my daycare for the week? So that's the kind of conversations that you should be having, but I'm having with them. And here's one for trucking, because a lot of trucking applications are coming in. It's one where it's just difficult to get 100% offer unless they're doing literally 200,000 a month in revenue. These truckers are very volatile in their revenue in a lot of cases. Plus, if a truck breaks down, then their revenue could be cut in half or down to zero. But in this, it just so happens this trucking company has a couple trucks, and the owner drives one of them. His rate is higher at a 148, but the cost of funds is irrelevant to him because he's losing money every single day that he doesn't have that truck on the street. So I just wanted to kind of let me just stop sharing. I wanted to kind of just go over that with you and let you know that, listen, what you guys are doing is really amazing. But if you really want to boost up what you're doing, then start recruiting. And because you're going to get you're getting something that all these other people in this space don't have, and that's other products and services with David Allen Capital that can kind of bridge the gap. So if all you got with 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 fundings a year, you still got all these other services that are going to come in and help you stay qualified to get paid off of everybody in your organization that are trying and doing exactly the same thing. Again, I just wanted to run this by you guys today and let you know Man, I know what's heading your way. I mean, David shares everything with me, and we've talked, and he kind of uses me as a sounding board a lot and as someone who has owned networking companies, he said, "Wait, what would you do? How would you do it?" And I mean, this is really it's about enthusiasm and excitement, and I think with what he's getting ready to do with you guys, the excitement level is just going to go skyrocketed. And then guess what? Everything's going to change for you overnight. You just wait and see. Once you start in the recruiting mode, telling people about this, understanding that, hey, you don't have to go sell pills, potions, and lotions to get an organization of people that are interested in helping small businesses. Because when you help a small business, here's what happens. That small business person just got help and helps the economy around him, and he helps his employ or her employees. They help really fuel the economy of their local community. You get a commission, so you're fueling your economy, your family environment. You're building there, and then DAC is building and getting bigger and stronger with a larger client base. So, if anybody has any questions about today, I'd love to take it. If not, I'll let you guys be. Any questions about anything to do with funding or anything we talked about?
We have Jay's iPhone with their hand up. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. I was inquiring in the chat with your admins, and I didn't want to bother you because you were speaking and presenting, but my question was, what is available? And you might have gone over this in another session I wasn't present for, under two things, pre-revenue businesses and EIN only. Are there any options in those two categories?
The first one, pre-revenue businesses, that is not going to work for us. You can probably get them. I'm sorry, guys, I got water in my ears. The pre-revenue businesses can probably be helped on the credit and merchant services side, but they can't be helped on the funding. We're revenue-based funding only, so I'm not sure we can do a lot for them. Number two, I think you asked me. Could you repeat, Morgan, what number two was?
Yes, she asked if we can do anything for EIN only.
Now, what does that mean? I mean, EIN only, I'm not sure.
I can unmute Jay's iPhone again.
Yeah, Jay, what do you mean EIN only?
Can you hear me now?
You mean they got an EIN, but they haven't started their company yet?
No, they have an EIN. Well, you answered the pre-revenue question, which if you're talking about if you have other credit options available as opposed to loans, if there are other options for people that are pre-revenue under a DAC category, I'd be interested in promoting that. And EIN only means there's no PG, there's no social security number involved. It's just the EIN.
Yeah. Well, you have to have a social security number because we got to look at the FICO of the owner. In the revenue base, you can't just put an EIN on the application. Even though we're not funding the individual, they still have to have a social security number attached to that. A great example is someone who may not be a U.S. citizen. And if they're not a U.S. citizen and they don't have a U.S. passport, which they wouldn't if they're not a U.S. citizen, or if they don't have a U.S. permanent resident card, I can't fund them. We are working with a new program that will hopefully be able to do some ITIN numbers where they are not, they have the right to work, but they don't have the U.S. permanent residence card. But right now, everybody's got to submit some kind of social security card number.
Yeah, because I mean, it didn't really cross my mind about someone being a citizen or not. It's just whenever an attorney told me whenever a social security number is provided through the entire banking system, and maybe not DIC, but it's an automatic personal guarantee, which is not everyone intends or is even aware of.
Tell your banker, tell your attorney that I understand what he's saying, but that's not necessarily true in our type of funding. It is true on certain funding companies that we have, but not on every one of them where it's automatically a personal guarantee. So let me tell you what they're looking for. They're looking for past defaults, and sometimes past defaults won't ring true just by EIN. That's why the Social Security number is important to see. So they're going to tie you to those defaults if you're the owner.
All right. Well, thanks very much. I look forward to the expansion of your product line so that, you can be, you're already competitive because you offer things that others don't, but in these two specific categories, I'm finding that there's a need and, to figure out solutions so people can substantiate the robustness of the demand based on data for the business that they're offering and the history of their business acumen or their business history, so that some of these other factors that the bank algorithms puts in that kind of creates obstacles isn't really necessary, because the business will succeed, but like on paper, according to the current bank algorithms, it kind of sabotages them.
I understand. Right now, we're in revenue-based funding, and we don't see anything in the future that's going to change that. We've already tried going into other types of funding, and we found that we feel comfortable here, and that's where we're going to stay for right now. But I really appreciate, and I'll talk to David about what you said. Okay, who else do we have?
We have Reggie Walker. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Oh, looks like he remuted. Reggie, let's try you one more time. There we go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah, Wade, how you doing, buddy? Yeah,
Good,
listen,
Reggie.
I have a situation where I talked to a client yesterday, and he said he went to the website and he filled out the application and stuff online, because he applied for a loan for $1,500, and he said he went through the process, but I don't have any record of it. I don't have I didn't get an email. I looked in my back office. There's nothing there in my back office saying that he did it.
Yep.
So I'm wondering what happened.
Yeah, let me tell you what happened. I can tell you already. First of all, I don't handle anything to do with Giggle, and that's where that would go. Anybody that's doing revenue under 10,000, I don't even look at those applications unless they go through our system. And if he only wanted 1,500, then he probably is doing a low revenue amount, and that would go to Giggle.
I didn't say 15. I said 15,000.
I thought you said 1,500. Okay. And well, probably what happened you can email me at wade@bankbreezy.com and I'll look it up, but most likely they timed out. They started their application and didn't complete it, and it just times out, and they got to start all the way over. And you wouldn't get an email on that unless they completed the application. It would have just been application started. They didn't complete it for whatever reason. But if you send me an email, I'll have somebody look that up, and you'll have an answer today.
Okay.
Yeah, Reggie, just to follow up with that, you can email us support@davidallencapital.com, because it could be a few different things. So we can take a look at that, of course. You can also email Wade, but we'll take a look at that for you.
Because I've already sent the notice to support.
Perfect. Yep, you'll hear back very shortly, I'm sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much. All right, and next up we've got, last but not least, Christopher Sanchez. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Wade, always a pleasure when you share your insights. I find it really, just sometimes just that light pops in your head. My first question is in regards to line of credit. Do you see possibly by September that amount increasing?
Well, I have a program, and David and I are going to talk about, because it's very, very, very low commission. I mean, it's like a third of what we already get, or lower, but it can go up to quite a bit. I don't see 100,000 of them exceeding the 100,000 until a few things take place, and it will probably be the end of the summer before some of these will increase above 100,000. I can tell you that the offers at large for with these companies that are giving those, the offers with these great like an on deck or something, they're now with us extending 24 months, doing a lot of great stuff, and even on the 100,000 with good credit. I think it was last week we put one on for 100,000 at 24 months with monthly payments. And of course, there's no monthly fee to have it, and the rate on it was just so great. It was less than any rate I had seen in the industry. So they're really trying to do these kind of things, but most of the people that are in the lines of credit side of it are getting out instead of trying to increase it. But the ones that are in it are doing a really good job. But right now it's 100,000. Again, when David and I talk, if I got a $250,000, actually could probably do even more than that. But it's a very small amount that anyone makes off of that.
Okay. Next question is in regards to the criteria for ITN numbers. Will that be different than what is currently expected?
Well, right now, yeah, it would be different. Right now, ITN numbers are not going to be funded unless they've got a U.S. permanent resident card. But we have a lender. That's what's going to change. I have a lender that we use a lot that is changing their criteria. And I thought I would know something this week, but I haven't heard from them. I'm going to give them a buzz and find out. But the only difference will be they will have to have another type of identification card, and I'm not totally sure what they call it, but it wouldn't have to be the U.S. Permanent resident card.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wade.
Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Guys, I appreciate you being on here. I see a lot of pictures of faces that I know, and we're getting a whole lot of new names coming in with applications. You keep that recruiting up, and I promise you it's going to pay off for you. God bless you. Y'all have a great rest of the day.
And quick note before everyone hops off, I see several messages in the chat just popped up, support related chat questions. So I'm bringing this call to a close now. You can email us with your questions at support@davidallencapital.com, just so I don't keep the Zoom live to respond to those chats. Thank you so much. Support@davidallencapital.com.